some wonderful gardens created by the country's top designers. This house and garden are nestled in an area of outstanding natural beauty. Garden was completed 18 months ago with a contemporary sunken area forming the centrepiece of the design. Flowing limestone path seamlessly transforms into a snake-like deck which takes you through to a wildlife pond. From here, borrowed views can be seen of the surrounding landscape. This garden's certainly got a wow factor, and it's a highly designed space, but it still fits in the landscape so comfortably. It feels like it's always been here. There's no straight lines, it's all built on curves, and the elements are nice and simple and interlock beautifully together. You know, I'm not sure if this is talking to that or the landscape's talking to this garden. It's blurring the spaces, and I think that's why it works so well. The garden has been created by Ian Kitson, a designer renowned for his free-flowing organic style, often inspired by the wider surrounding landscape. The trigger of this garden was the extended landscape that you couldn't, you would never want to block out, you'd never want to ignore, you want to embrace it.
Whatever garden design you might come up with here, you will never be able to experience that garden without, at the same time, always experiencing this larger landscape. And of course, people look at landscapes and go, isn't that beautiful? And so, for me, it was then thinking, well, how do I do a garden that kind of shouts back at that landscape and goes, well, actually, look at me, I'm quite beautiful too. And, you know, and kind of just stands up to it. So stands up to that and stands up to that house as well and sits here with a, you know, a kind of good personality.
An identity all of its own.
You got it. That's it. Yeah. The development of the material vocabulary here is very specific to this site. It's, you know, if you travel around this landscape, you know, it's a chalk landscape. You know, you look at the buildings in the village and the roads and how they're put together, and you then look at the house, which is brick and flint. A huge effort has been made with the materials to be very sympathetic to the house, but still try and use the materials that actually say, look, you can use these materials differently.
Let's move on to the water, because that is such a bold design, classy, slick pond.
You're right.
With your deck.
There you go. I get no text from Newt saying I'm not happy with the aesthetic language of this pond. It works very well. Yeah. So.
It does work very well.
Yeah.
I love it.
And of course,
the timber's mellowed.
Yeah, and it's part of the design. There is a journey here from coming out of the house, the seating out there, into the sunken garden. You can sit over there, you can sit here. This is kind of, the wall goes down here on, you know, you can, obviously it's lower than this wall. So it's just letting you experience those views more. From the outset, I did feel that a sunken garden here, even though we've had to raise the levels to create a sunken garden, was absolutely the right thing. It's really lovely being in this kind of quite intimate space. You can look there and be looking at this minute detailing of the sempervivens leaf and the flower, and then you turn around and you've got a 5-mile view. And I kind of like that tension.
You play with scale.
I like that.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would change?
Other than me living here and the client not living here.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
As a garden designer, if this is it, if I have to occupy this garden for the rest of my life, you know, really, I'd be happy. I would be happy.
There's nothing better than visiting a garden when it's at its peak, walking around it, letting it draw you through and experiencing it fully. But as you can imagine, gardens like this don't come cheap. They cost thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds. But the great thing about open gardens is that you can visit places like this, you can experience them, and you can take home all that inspiration.